I've never been afraid of the dark. Not the kind that fills a bedroom at night. Not the kind that makes shadows stretch across the wall. But there is one sound, one harmless little sound that still makes my stomach drop instantly, even now. It isn't a scream, it isn't a gunshot, it isn't footsteps behind me. It's a doorbell. Because when I was 13, someone rang hours late at night, and I realized in that moment they weren't doing it to be polite. They were doing it to confirm I was alone. I grew up in one of those towns that feels manufactured to be safe. Wide streets, trimmed lawns, porch lights that always work, neighbors who smile too long and wave too much. The kind of place where people leave their garage doors open because they truly believe nothing bad could ever happen there. And that night, my parents finally trusted me enough to stay home alone. Before they left, they gave me the usual rules, but their voices sounded casual in the way adults sound casual when they're actually nervous. Don't open the door, don't tell anyone you're alone, keep the lights on, and if anything feels wrong, call immediately. Then they left a $20 bill on the counter for pizza, like a reward for being responsible. And to a 13-year-old, that wasn't just money, it was freedom. The second their car disappeared down the street, the house felt different, like it belonged to me, like the air itself was lighter. I turned on my console, cranked the volume up, and played like I had something to prove, laughing at the game, yelling at the screen, forgetting completely that I was alone. Around 8:40 p.m., my stomach started growling, so I called the local pizza place we'd ordered from 100 times. Small, family-owned, not a chain. The kind of place where the guy on the phone recognizes your address before you finish saying it. And they told me it would be about 30 minutes. When the doorbell finally rang, I didn't even think. I grabbed the cash and ran downstairs, already tasting the greasy cheese in my head, and I opened the door. And there he was, the delivery guy. Except something about him felt wrong in a way I couldn't explain at first. Not movie villain wrong, not masked killer wrong, more like real life wrong. Like you're looking at someone and your instincts start whispering quietly that this person doesn't belong where they are. His uniform looked like it had been slept in. His beard was uneven and patchy. His hands were dirty, not from work, but from neglect. And his eyes looked exhausted, but not the way a tired person looks. They looked empty, like he hadn't rested in days because he didn't want to. He handed me the 20, and while he pretended to count the change, he wasn't looking at the money. He was looking past me, over my shoulder, into the hallway behind me. Then he smiled. Not a friendly smile, not a customer service smile, just a small movement of his mouth that felt like a decision being made. And he asked softly, "Just you tonight?" The words weren't strange, it was the tone, like he wasn't asking, like he was confirming something. My throat tightened, and I forced out a laugh that sounded fake even to me. "No," I said quickly, "my parents are home. They're just upstairs." I even turned my head like I was listening for them, like I expected to hear footsteps. He stared at me for a second longer than normal, the kind of stare that makes your skin feel exposed, and then he nodded slowly. "Right," he said, like he didn't believe me, like he didn't need to. He handed me the pizza and walked back to his car without another word. I closed the door and locked it immediately, and my hands were shaking so badly I almost dropped the box. I told myself I was being dramatic. I told myself I was just a kid with an overactive imagination. But when I went back upstairs, I kept the volume lower. I kept pausing the game to listen. Every little sound in the house felt louder than it ever had before. Around 10:30 p.m., I looked out my bedroom window and I noticed something that made my stomach tighten again. The street lamp across from our house was out. It had been working earlier. Now the end of the street was swallowed by darkness, and beyond that darkness were trees, and behind those trees were houses I couldn't see. And for the first time that night, I had the thought I should have had from the beginning. If someone stood outside right now, I wouldn't know. I wouldn't see them, I wouldn't hear them. I would only know they were there if they wanted me to. I tried to laugh it off, tried to go back to the game, tried to pretend the delivery guy hadn't looked at my house like he was reading a map. Then, at 11:17 p.m., the doorbell rang again. Not a knock, not someone tapping, the exact same clean, polite ding-dong that had brought me pizza earlier. I froze so hard my fingers stopped moving on the controller. My first thought was my parents were home early. My second thought was that they would have texted. My third thought, the one that made my blood go cold, was that doorbells don't ring themselves. I walked downstairs slowly, not running this time, every step heavy, every creak in the staircase sounding like it was announcing me. I didn't touch the lock, I didn't touch the handle. I just stood there, staring at the door like it might breathe. And then I heard a voice on the other side, calm and low, as if whoever was speaking was standing close enough to kiss the wood. "Hey, can you help me?" The way he said it was practiced, like he'd said it before to other doors. I didn't answer. I didn't even breathe. There was a pause, and then the voice continued, softer, almost apologetic. "My car broke down. I left my phone at home. I just need to use yours for a second." My mouth felt dry. I whispered, barely audible, "Who is this?" Silence. And then, like he was amused I'd asked, he said, "Just someone who knows you're in there." My heart slammed so hard it felt like it shook my ribs. I stepped back from the door, and that's when he knocked. 3 taps. Gentle, patient, not aggressive, not angry. Tap, tap, tap. Like he wasn't trying to scare me, like he was trying to make me curious. Then he spoke again, and this time his voice lost the fake politeness. It wasn't loud. It was worse than loud. It was confident. "You already opened it once tonight." My legs turned cold. He knew I was the kid who answered earlier. He knew exactly what house he was at. He knew I was alone. And that meant the question he'd asked at the pizza delivery wasn't small talk. It was a test. My chest tightened and I backed away, and the doorbell rang again. Slower this time, like he was giving me one more chance to do something stupid. I ran upstairs, locked myself in my parents' bedroom, and grabbed my phone with shaking hands. I tried calling my mom. No signal. I tried again. 1 bar, then none. I tried calling 911, and the call didn't even connect. Just silence, and then an error message. That's when I realized the house phone downstairs was the only thing that might work, and the thought of going back down there made my stomach twist. Then I heard it. Something I didn't want to hear. Something that turned the fear into something sharper. The sound of the side gate opening. Our gate was old and rusty. It screeched when it moved. That screech rose up through the quiet neighborhood like a scream no one wanted to acknowledge. Whoever was outside wasn't standing at the front door anymore. They were walking around the house, looking for another way in. I pressed my ear against the bedroom door, holding my breath so hard my head started to ache, and then I heard footsteps below me. Not on the porch, not on the grass. Inside, on the kitchen tile. Slow, deliberate, heavy, like he wasn't sneaking, like he didn't care if I heard him, like the point was for me to know he was in my home. I backed away from the door, stumbling, and I slid under the bed, pressing myself against the carpet so hard my cheek burned. The room was dark, except for a thin slice of moonlight through the curtains, and in that moonlight I could see dust floating like tiny ghosts. The footsteps started climbing the stairs. 1 step, pause. Another step, pause, like he was listening between each movement, like he was savoring it. Then the hallway creaked. Then the sound of a door opening, my bathroom. A second door, my room. Drawers being pulled, closets being checked. Not frantic, not rushed. It was the sound of someone searching with patience, like they expected to find me eventually. Then the footsteps stopped right outside my parents' bedroom. Silence, so thick it felt physical. And then the doorknob turned. Once, twice, locked. Another pause. I could hear my own heartbeat pounding in my ears so loud it sounded like it might give me away. And then the knock came again. 3 soft taps, right against the door. Tap, tap, tap. And his voice came through the wood, quiet enough to feel intimate, like he was talking directly into my skull. I know you're in there. I clamped my hand over my mouth so hard I could taste skin. The knob rattled, harder this time, not violently, just enough to remind me that locks aren't walls. Then it stopped. Total silence again. No footsteps, no breathing, nothing. And that was the worst part, because my mind started filling the silence with possibilities. Then, slowly, the footsteps moved away, down the hall, down the stairs, and into the darkness of the first floor. I stayed under that bed for what felt like hours, staring at the shadows, waiting for the door to burst open, waiting for the sound to come back. And when it didn't, I almost convinced myself I'd imagined everything until I heard the front door close. Not slam, not bang. Close, soft, controlled, like he was leaving the way a guest leaves after a pleasant visit. I didn't move. I didn't breathe. I stayed under that bed until I heard my parents' car pull into the driveway and the front door unlock with a key. When I finally crawled out, my legs barely worked. I ran downstairs and found my parents standing in the kitchen, confused and half laughing, like they expected me to be watching TV. I tried to speak, but my throat wouldn't work for a second. And when I finally forced the words out, my mom's face drained of color. My dad grabbed a flashlight and checked every room. The back door was wide open. Not broken, not kicked in, not forced. Just unlocked and open. The police arrived 20 minutes later, but by then, the neighborhood was quiet again, like nothing had happened. One officer walked through the backyard with his flashlight and found something that made his expression change. On the patio table, perfectly centered, like it had been placed there carefully, was my pizza box. I had thrown it away earlier, but someone had taken it out, cleaned the grease off the lid, and set it down like a gift, like a signature, like proof. The officer stared at it for a long time before looking at me and saying, "Kid, he wasn't trying to rob you. He was testing you." And those 3 soft taps weren't a request for help. They were a countdown. So, if you're listening to this alone right now, just don't look away from your front door. Just think about this. If someone rang your bell tonight and asked you to open it, would you? Tell me in the comments, because I'm not asking for fun. I'm asking because the next story I'm going to tell is about a person who did open the door, and what was waiting on the other side wasn't human. And if you want to hear that one, you already know what to do.